Interesting game from Barcelona. We managed to win once again, 2-0 win. And honestly, it was an interesting performance from Barcelona. I think if you go on places like Twitter and Instagram, you immediately see the backlash that people get. I mean, especially Xavi, people wanted him sacked in the first half. So, that is what it is. But I think what was important in today's match was the fact that we managed to get the 3 points. It wasn't dazzling, it wasn't amazing, but we got the 3 points. And it all started off with a 3-4-3 formation that we lined up with. Ter Stegen, Christensen, Frankie, and Koundé as sort of the defensive line, I would say. And there's Balde, Gundogan, Ramu, and Yamal as the 4. Really superb performance, I would say, especially from Gundogan and Yamal. And then we had Pedri and Gavi as the 2 higher interiors, and Lewandowski up front. Cadiz lined up with Ledesma, Fali, Hernandez again, Carcelin, Alejo, Alcaraz, Fede, Ramos, Roger, and Alex. And I would say 2 standout performances from Cadiz, I would say. That's Ledesma. Every time we play against Cadiz, it's always him. He is literally the main man for Cadiz in the sense that every time, it's not only Barcelona, to be honest. Any big team that plays against Cadiz, they just know that it's very difficult to get past Ledesma. And the second player I would say is Ramos. Ramos, I think the commentators that I was listening to at La Liga TV actually were mentioning Ramos multiple times. He's a really good talent. I think for La Liga, who don't have that many good talents for the lower parts of the division, really good talent, and I think Cadiz need to keep an eye on him, and so do the other big teams. Well, it was a 2-0 win, and 76% possession here for Barcelona today, 24 possession for Cadiz, 23 shots, which is pretty good, I would say, compared to the usual statistics that we get. And they weren't just shots from, outside the box. I always compare this to Real Madrid because I've seen their first few games during preseason, and people were like 35 shots, 40 shots. They were a lot from outside the box. We did not have that today. There were pretty good shots that we had, and I would say it was very good from Barcelona in that sense. We had 9 fouls, 613 passes, which is significantly more than Cadiz's 195. We're, of course, 5th in La Liga now, 2 points off leaders Real Madrid, and we drew our last game 0-0 against Getafe. Very similarly set team, to be honest. Getafe set up in a back 5, Cadiz in a back 4, but they defended really deep, gave us pretty much no space until we scored the first goal. Really difficult from them. And our next 3 games aren't going to get any easier. They're different from Cadiz because Villarreal under Quique Setién don't play a low block. Osasuna will not play a low block. And Real Betis, famously with Pellegrini, will not do that either. These are 3 teams that are going to be really good with the ball, and they're going to really trust our technical level more than our physical level. And I think that's an important comparison that we have to make. And when we look at our player ratings today, Ter Stegen was, I would say, okay. Nothing really stand out from him, which is good because we don't want a goalkeeper that's constantly on his feet and that has to constantly make saves. He made 1 really good save, but other than that, nothing really too special from him. Balde, again, a little bit different from him because we normally see a standout performance from him. We saw that against Getafe. But today, he was good in the sense that he maintained a lot of stability in the team, especially on the left-hand side, but he wasn't really a standout performer. Christensen, I would say, was excellent. He had a different role today. Christensen is generally like a ball-playing center back in a 4 that doesn't have to be as aggressive. The way that we play, we have a player like Araujo who has to really come out and be aggressive. It's a natural tendency for him. Even when Christensen is paired with Inigo Martinez once he recovers in the future, again, you're talking about a player that will be aggressive. Christensen is not that. But today he showed that aggressive side of his game and had to really come out to really push that defensive line even more. And I thought he was excellent for Barcelona today especially. And then we had Koundé, who again was excellent as well. Different role in the back 3, had to play more on the right-hand side. And this is where I think we'll see the best of Koundé because aggressive, he was really aggressive today. He managed to, make a few attacks. Long balls are really good. Obviously, technically, he's just excellent and made a really, really good game today. And another standout performer, I would say, is Frankie de Jong. 90% pass accuracy, completed all 69 of his passes in the first half. Was just a really solid player, and 79 touches as well. Aerially, really good. On the ground, really good. The way he carries the ball, the way he moves, the way he attacks, really good from Frankie de Jong. We just need to see more of it. And a player I thought that was really underrated today was Oriol Romeu. Every time we mention midfielders, we just somehow forget this guy, even though he's the guy that provides the stability. The amount of recoveries he made, the amount of very simple actions that he did that just helped the team move on and move further in attack. It's superb, and I'm going to just say this again. In the Champions League, this guy will be crucial because with Busquets, we just didn't see any runs. We didn't see a guy that was defensively secure. Ramu is the opposite of that, very defensively secure, doesn't really progress the ball as much as someone like Busquets, but we have Frankie and Pedri and Gundogan who do that, and players like Gavi could also do the running, so he's just a really good player that adds so much balance to this team. Same thing with Gundogan. I think last season we struggled with, I would consider a certain mold of players like Verratti, like Enzo Fernandez, like Gundogan, who can control the game. These are players that we need in the team. These are players that add that stability as well. Gundogan provides that. Did an amazing assist today as well to Pedri. 0.78 expected goals from midfield. Match rating 8.8. Absolutely superb from him. Pedri, once again, it's no surprise. Pedri, I would say against Getafe, the way Xavi used him was a disgrace. He literally played it in such a way that honestly I've never seen a player, I don't think anyone should ever do this to Pedri, which is play him so high up. He plays in almost that Kevin De Bruyne role, or like that Kai Havertz role. Like, you don't want Pedri higher up near Lewandowski. You don't want that, because Pedri in build-up is what makes this team function. And I think Pedri doing that today was very important. He dropped back, he managed to make so many important runs, 2 successful dribbles, a goal scored, superb from Pedri. And honestly, one of the biggest performances I've ever seen from a 16-year-old is from Lamine Yamal. 3 successful dribbles, 34 out of 40 accurate passes, a big chance created, match rating of 7.5, all at the age of 16. Absolutely ridiculous. I've never seen a 16-year-old, even Ansu Fati, even Messi wasn't like this. The talent this kid has is ridiculous. At that age, to show that much maturity, that much IQ on that right-hand side, he's ridiculous. We better sign him up for a lifetime contract, because I've never seen a talent like that at that age. He's just superb, and hopefully we see more of that from La Masia and from him specifically over the next few months. And then we have Lewandowski, who was such an underwhelming performance from Lewandowski, because this whole preseason he's been a passenger in that attack. Against Getafe, he was getting barged, and it's difficult to play against Getafe under Bordalas ball, because that's just difficult. So you give him an excuse against that. But then against Cadiz, to show that performance like that, it was awful. Seeing a performance like that from Lewandowski, I think the time has come for a player like Ferran Torres to come back in, or Ansu Fati, because if we continue with a player like Lewandowski, I think it's going to be very difficult for Barcelona in that center forward position. We need Vitor Roque, we need Ferran Torres, we need Ansu Fati, we need someone up there except for Lewandowski, because he needs to understand that his place at Barcelona isn't guaranteed, and that he needs actually a few times on the bench to just, get in his head and really understand that his performances are just not good enough. Gavi, I thought, was good today. First game back after his injury. Didn't do too much, but aggressive as usual. Provided a little bit of creativity. A lot of energy as ever from Gavi. And it wasn't a bad performance by any means. And him and Pedri were both, I would say, good. Obviously, Pedri a little bit better. But Gavi just needs to slowly recover from his injury, and we'll start to see better versions of him. And then I would say the last important player that we have to also mention is, of course, Gundogan once again, because Gundogan today was superb. My man of the match. Played absolutely superb today. The intensity he showed, the calmness that he showed on the ball, important player. Lamine Yamal was also really good. Xavi actually said, Lamine played a great match. He's very mature for his age, and we believe that he can make a difference. He just lacked a goal to round off his performance. This is the truth. Absolutely superb from Lamine Yamal today. Xavi actually put a lot of trust in him, which we have to give him credit for, which we normally don't do, just because he's Xavi and how he makes a lot of wrong decisions, but did really well today. Lewandowski also was something that, as Tactical Moderno mentioned, he needs to hold the bench for the next couple of matches. It might do him good to give him to switch on again. It hasn't been looking good for a while now. This is the truth. Lewandowski needs to go on the bench, needs to understand that his place at Barcelona isn't guaranteed, and we need to see a better version of him in the coming months. But the truth is, Barcelona got the 3 points today. Important match, always going to be difficult against Cadiz, always going to be difficult against a manager that Cadiz has like that. It wasn't dazzling, but it was 3 points, and it means that we get to go to the next match without having that feeling that there's just less pressure on the players, and this is very important. So I think that this is very important for Barcelona, and as ever, as I always say, Visca el Barça, and hopefully more to come from this Barcelona team under Xavi.